I'm secretly doing the show just so Trina could hear the music again.
Thank you. I even wore my readers this time so I can see for realsies what's in those little holes and what's in the circles.
Well, the videos we're going to watch are probably going to be blurry anyway, so it might not be too much of a point to
glasses off.
So we have a full house tonight. Welcome back, Trina. Everyone knows you now. You're the new regular.
It's unfortunate.
Yay.
Andy Mercer, you've been here before as well.
Yes, we talked about the Enfield Poltergeist, I think it was a few months ago.
Enfield Poltergeist, yep, that was it. Yep. And first-time victim, Rick Belcher, is here joining us as well.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So I immediately wanted to stir everyone up, and I wanted to pose a question to all of you. And my question is, why do super conservative people gravitate towards Bigfoot?
Can I say?
Okay.
You got it, Trina? You got it locked and loaded?
My theory here in Florida is because they think the stickers look cool on their Jeeps.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm. There tends to be a bit of a right-wing bias across the paranormal world in general. There's hand in hand with conspiracies, and conspiracies tend to be more right-wing rather than left-wing conspiracies. So there is the draw in the idea of being involved in something that's a bit, I know more than you do because I know this strange stuff goes on, but also where does this line of conspiracy end between supernatural, paranormal conspiracy of weird stuff, and then government conspiracy and deep state, that kind of stuff. I think there's a definite connection there. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for many years, and it's a phenomenon that's become quite apparent that there is a definite right-wing leaning more generally in the paranormal world. But also, I think perhaps, I'm not American, obviously, so I don't know America that well, but the idea of the guys going out in the woods doing the hunting, they probably gravitate towards right-wing causes anyway, and they're the ones more likely to be out looking for people, I would imagine, rather than the average guy sort of sitting in New York office, So maybe that's the interests tying together and form a sort of a cohesion.
Okay, I got a long one. The more educated you are, the less likely you are to be conservative. We know there's that. The more you learn, the less you're likely to lean right because you're exposed to more things. Also, if you are conservative, it means you're less educated typically. It also means you're probably more religious and prone to believing in things of wonder. And that a lot of conservatives have eschewed religion or in not just gotten rid of it, but also kind of folded in the paranormal with it. Because you'll hear discussion of the Nephilim being Bigfoot and all of that. And I completely, when someone says that, I check out, I'm done. Like it's over. But I think it comes down to, I hate to say this, intelligence. And that's the key to everything. The dumber you are, the more likely you are to believe stuff. So, and I talked about this with Jordan Heath on Campfire at one point. So I'd like to reiterate that at any time.
Also, I think the idea of being the excluded, kind of outside of things, if you're less informed, you feel you're less involved. So you look for something that you could become more involved in. And as I said before about the idea of being into conspiracies, because it makes you feel like you know something. You've got the secret knowledge about these things, and makes you feel that, well, if mainstream society isn't for me, then I'll go to this alternative because I feel more relevant, more important in it. And it can lead to, again, other ideas growing. I mean, my background is psychotherapy, so I've dealt with a lot of mental mind stuff for many, many years. So it's something that you can observe, as you quite rightly say, the more educated you are, the more likely to be more open-minded, more liberal-minded, because you understand the world is a complex place. It's not black and white. It's not simple. Unlike modern politics at the moment, which can give that impression that it's very black and white, very simple, when it's very complex.
Yeah, lonely white dudes are looking for something with meaning, and they tend to be in echo chambers. And those echo chambers are either your Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate kind of corner, or it's the I'm going to go out and find Bigfoot in the forest, and you watch mountain monsters and you believe it because you're a moron. But it is like incels. Incels tend to gravitate toward this, like it's part of being part of something bigger than themselves too. So they need meaning. Yeah, they absolutely need meaning. And don't get me wrong, I love Bigfoot. And I'm saying this as somebody who is on the other end of the political spectrum from most people who are into Bigfoot. So it kind of breaks my heart when I tell people I'm into Bigfoot and they think less of me, because of that.
It's probably less sort of obvious over here in the UK with that kind of thing, political leanings and paranormal leanings. But it's an undercurrent you can definitely sense. I mean, some of the people I've worked with in the past, I know where they gravitate towards politically, and even though quite a few of them I'm not seeing for a number of years now, there's a party over here called Reform that's getting very popular that is very much right-wing populist, modelling itself on Trump's MAGA. And I know without even seeing those people, they're going to be supporting Reform, even though Reform have no real policies, they have no real organisational structure. They actually are a registered business, not a political party, which people don't seem to realise over here. It's ridiculous, but they've got about one policy is get rid of foreigners, and that's about it. But these people will be gravitating towards the idea of this strong leader. We want strong leaders. And it's like, well, yeah, he's leading down the bleeding blind alley because that's exactly what the guy's doing. I'm going to names and stuff, but that's exactly what he's doing. So again, it's this kind of, if you felt marginalized, you find something that is on the margins and then draw that into, try and bring it into the mainstream, if you like, trying to feel that you're more involved and engaged in something that is interested in you, but often these aren't interested in you. They're using you to get to where they want to be. I don't want to go down the politics road too much, but you know what I mean.
Well, it's hard to separate at this point. I was listening to Patterns Tell Stories today with their most recent episode, and they straight up had the conversation that you cannot separate UAP and politics anymore because they are they're woven together, and it sucks for those of us who are interested in it because it's the right wing, it's the conservatives. Those are the ones leading the charge on all of this, and it sucks.
I suppose you can see to a degree it's been proven. If you think it's Trump's White House who's releasing supposed documents on the JFK and other assassinations that have been sat on for decades. My personal think is the documents that actually matter have long since disappeared anyway. So everything they release is nothing of use in there because they had forewarning. I mean, they did try to do it 4 years ago or 8 years ago. It didn't happen. Yeah, kind of happened, but they've had a number of years to get rid of stuff that may be still sensitive. So that's probably all vanished. So it's meaningless, but it's pandering to that sort of right-wing idea we're talking about here, that the conspiracy theorists tend to be in that area. So there's a right-wing government who's now releasing that information for what it's worth, which is probably not a lot.
I can't wait till his name is not on the Epstein flight list. Like that. That's what I can't wait to see.
That'll be scrubbed next, Joe.
And it'd be like a collective amnesia. People seem to probably forget that he was heavily involved with him, which is the strange thing. But I think...
Oh, you can't even find the video anymore where he gave to some news company where he said, yeah, me and Jeff, we have a lot in common and he likes the ladies. And that video itself, that interview is almost impossible to find unless you're doing like a search from not that I would know how to do any of that, but unless you're doing kind of a different kind of search, it's hard to find. So, things that they're already trying to rewrite history. And now I just find myself taking screenshots of stuff. And, I feel like down the road, are my grandkids going to need to know what really happened? And you can throw the truth right in people's faces and they still did that.
Yeah.
It blows for example, the SAVE Act, our new election act, and on the outside, it totally appeals to all the anti-immigrant racists because you can't register to vote unless your ID matches your birth certificate. However, there are no carve-outs for married women, and they will not accept an official name change or marriage certificate as proof of ID.
Fun.
So don't change your name, ladies, if you're going to get married.
Don't get married.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, there we go. We talked about this last time. Don't get married, ladies.
I feel like I've been talking about that a lot lately. I did an episode of Talking Weird with Dean Bertram on Tuesday, and the name of the video is Love and Witchcraft. But I was telling Trina, you might enjoy it. I told the story of how I became locally known as the Bird Witch. But at the end, I was telling the story of how I met my friend Corey, and he's like, "Oh, it's like you guys were meant to meet and star-crossed lovers and this and that." And he says, "Why aren't you guys married?" I said, "I don't want to involve the government in my personal life."
So we're.
I've been on about that.
I have been divorced, so has the woman I call my wife. We're not married because we're not doing that. Like, we've been together 14 years and we're not legally married. She's my wife. She's my common-law wife. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, you are so freaking blessed to have her, because who else is going to put up with your crap?
No one. Like, they might think on the surface.
Viewers, I podcast with him. Wondering why I'm just roasting the hell out of him. No, he's my co-host.
On the surface, like, hey, Rick's sort of cute. He might be fun to be with, but then when you realize all of my idiosyncrasies,
you're neurotic. Outweighs honey. I love
any
you.
other. Yeah.
I love you so much. You're the little brother I never wanted, but you are a hot.
Never wanted.
Hey, Rick.
Oh no. I hate you.
Is it the sound or the?
It's the whole thing. It's probably the biggest autism thing I've got going. It's just that texture. I get it honest though, because my dad hated cotton, so I guess there's.
I hate cotton. Yeah. All I can think about is the sensation of biting into it just when I look at it, and like feeling it on my teeth. No, can't do it.
I get this all started because I was sick and making origami out of my cough drop wrappers. So you never should have told me it bothered you. That's the problem.
Of course, being a retired psychotherapist, we could talk about that for the next hour if you like. Why you have these photos? It'd be very boring.
Andy, we're gonna have to connect because I need therapy.
Okay.
I'm already in therapy. You could probably use a hand. I'm sure I'm a challenge.
Oh, we know you're a ridiculous mess, Trina. We know that.
Oh, I listen. I put the hot and psychotic friend. Okay.
I told you, watching Yellow Jackets, like Juliette Lewis reminds me a lot of you, and she is the most.
Oh my God, she was my first girl crush. Yeah. In Strange Days in that chainmail dress. Woo! Hot.
She's still hot. She's in her late 50s. Yeah, late 50s.
So you know what? I appreciate that. Wow, that was like a left-handed compliment, buddy. You know what?
Yeah, I mean it as a positive. Like, you know you're crazy. So is Juliette Lewis. Like, you know that.
I know that.
Are you guys aware of what the Mormons think of Bigfoot?
Yes, we did an episode on that. Me and Cody did.
Did you?
I don't go on in.
Oh, we can.
All right.
So stupid.
I've got a video to show you then. I was looking for Bigfoot videos and I found one that has a picture of one of my family members in it. So I picked that one.
Should I spoil it or should we just let it be unveiled to Andy?
I'll let it be unveiled. It was Cody's story in one of our Stone Strangers and we were just dying laughing about it.
I was the one that told Cody about it and he flipped out immediately.
Yeah, he told me that, and I think we mentioned you in that episode because I do believe that we talked about how you were related to them, and then it went from there because he had gotten the tip on the story from you.
Yep.
Susie's related to Mormon Bigfoot?
She is.
So Susie's related to the Hinckleys. So my mom is a Hinckley. Gordon Hinckley was president of the Mormon Church until he died in 2008.
Okay.
And his father was a prophet, and his father was a prophet, and his father was a prophet.
And then his great-great-grandson tried to kill Reagan.
So John Hinckley Jr. is my third cousin twice removed.
That's amazing. That's where you get your weird energy. Are you also in love with Jodie Foster?
The creepy part is, and I did not understand this until I was an adult. When I was little, one time we were going out to eat we used to go out to eat as a family on Sundays when I was little. And this older couple stopped us and said, "Oh my God, you look just like Jodie Foster." To me. My mom freaked out. She said, "No, she doesn't." And I didn't know why she was upset. I also didn't know who Jodie Foster was at the time. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So, yep. The garbage pail side of the family. That one is.
That's phenomenal.
All right. Are you ready for this, Andy?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's
Hold on.
cue the
Get my
footage.
glasses on.
It's already given away. Damn it.
One piece of Mormon folklore is that Cain from the Bible is actually Bigfoot. While this might sound like a fun, whimsical little factoid, it's actually rooted in the Mormon Church's long history of racism against Black people. Early Mormon leaders taught that all Black people were descended from Cain in the Bible. Cain is cursed for killing his brother Abel, and as a result, God puts a mark on Cain, and early Mormons believed that that mark was black skin. And so in the 1800s, a Mormon leader said he met a Black man who was very tall and covered in hair. Apparently, this man told the Mormon leader that he was actually Cain. Later, as the legend of Bigfoot became popularized in the 1950s and 60s, some Mormons connected Bigfoot back to this earlier account in the 1800s. During the 1950s and 60s, Mormon leaders were still teaching that all Black people were cursed with the mark of Cain, and they also weren't permitted to enter Mormon temples or have the priesthood. This ban on Black members didn't end until 1978, which was almost...
That guy right there, that's Gordon Hinckley. It's my mom's cousin.
Oh, what an asshole.
10 years after the end of the civil rights.
In 1835, Mormon.
That was a short. But she is a
One piece of Mormon folklore is that
she is a really good creator. She's an ex-Mormon, and she talks about like the magic underwear and things like that.
I would feel horrible if I didn't mention that, speaking of ex-Mormons, the movie Heretic with Hugh Grant and the two women leads are ex-Mormons in it. It's fantastic. Like the actual actresses are ex-Mormons. So good. Heretic
If you watch Murder Among the Mormons, it's a documentary. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. It's about the salamander paper car bombings. And my family is heavily mentioned and interviewed in that.
Nice.
Of course, the Mormons feature in the very first Sherlock Holmes story as well, Study in the Scarlet. They don't come off very good in that either, as murderers. So,
Yep. So what are your thoughts on that one, Andy?
just bizarre. Absolutely. I wasn't aware of the level of racism within the Mormon church and those early, well, up to fairly recently, obviously, but good Lord, they are sent from Cain.
Yeah.
Off.
Darker skin comes from being evil. They also think that indigenous people are the lost tribe of Israel, but they strayed so far from God that their skin got darker.
Mm-hmm.
How do they get that far as well?
I think Jesus also appeared to natives in like 1000 AD or something? Like that was part of the Mormon Bible. I could be completely making that up, but
I'm not sure if it's part of the Bible or just lore for them. Yeah. They have so many books and other things that go along with it.
Yeah, super nice people. The religion just...
So they not realize that Jesus would have been of Middle Eastern descent, would have had darker skin?
No, he's white Republican Jesus.
Oh, of course. Of course.
They think that the Garden of Eden was in Missouri.
Yes, I've seen that one, but recently, funny enough.
That's what Ozark is about.
If Jesus came to the United States right now, ICE would pick him up and deport him.
Yes, well, he would be.
Be 5'3" brown man, yeah, in America, sure.
Yep, he'd be scooped right up.
He looks like he's from Mexico.
Yes. I mean, the myth of the Aryan Christ goes back few hundred years, actually, this whole notion that one of the things that made Jesus stand out was he was light-skinned and had blue eyes and blonde hair. So the Aryan Christ, as it was known in the Victorian times, became quite a movement. And I would imagine there's interweavings there going on. That same notion becoming much more prevalent, shall we say, in more nationalist Christian movements in America.
Yeah, I just love reminding people that Jesus was a brown socialist.
And Jewish as well, of course. Which
There was a folk singer who lived the next town over from my hometown, and I was in high school, but they had him come sing at the library in my high school, and one of his songs was Jesus was a long-haired radical socialist Jew.
Yeah. I'm an atheist, but I'm kind of spiritual in a way. Trina knows this. But I find myself aligning with the biblical Jesus in terms of what I like. Like, let's go flip the tables in the temple. And
I was just going to say, I like when you flip the tables.
Yeah, like I love that energy. Like I love Jesus' energy.
Well, there is such a thing as atheist Christians, Christianity. They follow the ideas and tenets of Christianity, but not with the supernatural side, not the God stuff. They do it because it's a good way to live. I think it's quite a fascinating concept.
It's kind of a companion to the Satanic Temple as well, because they're humanists and their tenets are just do no harm and help others. Like that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I eat halal, because you eat clean meat that was animals that were butchered humanely and taken good care of. I don't care if somebody blesses it, but that kind of comes along with it. But eating halal gives you kind of like the confidence of, where it came from, and that animals were treated right and whatnot.
Well, I love kosher products, so
I'd say the same.
Same thing.
Kosher,
yeah.
I just have a halal place in town where I can get
different
stuff.
words are said. Different words are said, but it's basically the same thing.
Right.
Yep.
So
I don't know. Like it's so racist. It's so, and the OG Christian teachings are great.
Yeah.
They are awesome. They are actually a wonderful way to live and become a better human.
Yep.
I don't know how it morphed into fuck thy neighbor. I don't.
The Old Testament's the problem, because the decision was made 600 or odd AD to include the Old Testament with the New. If it had been just the New Testament, you'd have a very different form of Christianity. The Old Testament is so contradictory, so outdated, and yet it's brought into Christianity, even though but Christ himself is basically saying, I am replacing the Old Testament. The New Testament is the new way of being. The old way hasn't worked. This is the new way. So that's old stuff. That doesn't need to be included, but of course they included it. So it's been part of the problem.
It's that old shit. We want the new shit. Like that's what Jesus is saying.
Actually, also, I was briefly a teacher. It was a long story. I did it for a while and hated it. But I taught RE as part of the one subjects I taught. So I know some of the background and the basics of it all. But it is it's interesting from us over here observing America making such a big deal of a separation of church and state, yet religion seems to be creeping more and more into your politics, particularly with the what we would call the Christian nationalist movement that seems to have taken over now.
The right wing wants the church to rule the state.
Yeah, it's Christo-fascism.
Exactly. The whole tenet of what Christianity is supposed to be about is being completely rejected by it. This whole notion of what Christianity is supposed to be about is like, it's not supposed to be based on one nation, whatever nation that might be. It's supposed to be a global religion following the one God. That's the idea. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you believe in Christ, you're a Christian. There's no better Christians, no worse Christians, just those that follow the rules, regardless of what skin color it is or what nation you're from. So the whole idea of Christian nationalism is anathema. They don't belong together. They're an oxymoron, really.
And that's been a lie from the beginning. Like they teach you in school, the pilgrims came here for religious freedom. They came here for their religious freedom.
Yeah.
And it was, again, this was my family, so I'm going to talk shit about them. Governor Thomas Hinckley, he was the last governor of Plymouth Colony, immediately started making laws against Quakers who are like the
Quakers
least
rock.
offensive people ever.
Yeah,
Oh,
Quakers are awesome.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why Rhode Island was formed. It was before he was governor, but actually another guy I'm related to was governor then. But they pushed the Quakers out, and they started, even like capital punishment at a point. So it was never about religious freedom. It was religious freedom for them.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Puritans were kicked out of two nations. They were kicked out of England and also the Netherlands, so Holland at that point.
Yeah.
So they were too weird for those two nations, and had to come over
If
here.
you're too weird for the Netherlands, there's something wrong.
They were dangerous religious extremists.
Well, over here, they were the sort of behind the English Civil War, basically the parliamentarians, and it became a Puritan state afterwards. So once they brought the king back, which I thought was a mistake myself because I'm anti-royalist, but once they brought him back, it was like, we've got to get rid of these people. They're the ones that caused the war in the first place, so we need to sideline them. And then, of course, America was found, and off they went in the nice little boats. So Puritanism itself was seen as a problem in this country at that point.
Right.
Mm. Yeah.
So, Bigfoot, guys, what do we believe? Is
Bigfoot,
it real? Is it a myth? Is it
who's that?
Great segue.
I want to see what you
I know, that
guys
was
believe
weird.
about this other video real quick. This one was just hilarious to me for some reason, so I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Bamf.
Oh, blimey.
No. Slenderman sighting reaction. Hell yeah.
That's more interesting.
You want to watch Slender Man?
Yeah.
No. Don't waste 3
Yeah.
minutes.
I'll just get to the good part.
Absolutely doesn't exist at all, of course.
It is just that man walking through the field. They're saying the Slender Man.
This is an old screaming.
Oh, Lord, it could be anything. That's just a man walking through the field.
Clearly
It's just a
Slender
man.
It's just a dude.
It's just
My
a
neighbor.
Okay.
That's as much
Multiple-
Slenderman as it is Bigfoot.
Yeah, multiple people posted that same video of Slender Man. Just a guy walking through a field.
Sky.
So what do we think about violent Bigfoot as opposed to like the
That looks
hippie
just-
friendly Bigfoot?
Totally staged.
Well, no, it's a stupid video. It even just the behavior itself doesn't make any sense, but the costume is bad. Like
Yeah.
it's poofy. It's
It looks
I
like an
wore a
ape
Bigfoot costume. I've worn a Bigfoot costume. I know what that hair feels like, and that looks like the same style of hair where it's obviously not biological or organic. It's something. It's just a costume. It's just
That
bad.
cheap plastic stuff that kind of
Yeah.
mats together if it gets
Yeah.
hot.
Doesn't move like hair. It doesn't look like hair.
The other thing I thought was interesting, the camera didn't move at all. It was completely static because it's supposed to be strapped to a tree or was on a tripod or what. It just happened to be just standing in the right spot for him to be perfectly framed in the middle of the picture.
I know. I thought the framing was such a coincidence.
Exactly.
You know, I and then that wicked baseball swing. Like, why hasn't like the New York whatever baseball team they're called
The New York
recruited him
whatever.
now?
Come on.
I don't watch sports ball, Rick. You know
No,
that.
Dell Sports Ball. I've never heard of the Yankees.
Okay, I've heard of them.
You're old enough to know Yogi Berra. You know the Yankees.
I know the Yankees. Anywho,
You're
Like, I feel like that guy
Yeah.
played on some little league team somewhere at some point in his life.
Yeah, I
They would
don't.
dance.
I don't buy the whole tree knock thing. I don't like. If anybody wants to waste an hour and a half, watch Sasquatch Sunset, which has Jesse Eisenberg and another lady who's been in a few things. But it's a family of Sasquatch, and it's basically watching what feels like the last family of Sasquatch alive, and it's set in the early 90s. But they do tree knocks to communicate, and they're all synchronized tree knocking and then getting no response. And it's just funny to watch all of these actors do that. But yeah, it's such a bizarre movie.
I don't have that hour and a half to spare. I'm so sorry. I will just have to take your word for it.
I think the whole time my brow was furrowed. Like, what is happening? Like, I like Jesse Eisenberg, but I'm like, is something going to happen? But not really. An hour and a half of actors in Bigfoot costumes.
Say time you'll never get back.
Yeah, but at least it looked worse than the Patterson Gimlin film. So we have that going for us.
Trina actually found a video with a quite impressive costume in it. Let me find that one real quick.
Sure did, buddy. I found this one just for you, Rick.
Aww.
I was dying. I just got it. I don't even know if I can watch it without dying laughing again.
Is it from Todd Standing?
I don't even know who the OG. No, it's some guy in Oklahoma. That's where the sighting was supposed to be, is Oklahoma.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
It was so many people shared it too. It was shared.
There's some Bigfoots in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Down there in Area X. Caught on camera. That's just the orangutan version of That's horrible.
It's a Jeff Lynx costume.
It is. At least
Look,
he's reddish orange.
He's nonchalantly sniffing a leaf when they first.
So you got Patterson Gimlin, you got Sasquatch Sunset, and then you got whatever the hell this is. That's weird. It ranks.
And in furry suit.
I don't appreciate the ginger Bigfoot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know, but my hair's kind of matching, y'all. That could be me. Let's be real. On a bad morning, that could be.
If you had a tan.
It's orangutan suit, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of reddish brown Bigfoot sightings out there, not just the black and brown. So there's like variants in hair color, just like with humans.
You know what? That is a good segue. Let me find this other video real quick. You're getting the segues real good tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, I'm ready.
Put your glasses on so you can
I
see.
know, because I'm so old.
I've had glasses since I was 18.
I've been old since I was born, buddy.
You're Benjamin Button.
I was born in a cranky old lady.
Whoa.
Hello.
Seriously?
What is that supposed to be? The mask is sort of hanging on a tree.
Hi, my friend.
It looks like a possum.
Holy shit.
Or an owl. Could be an
You know
owl.
how bees or wasps
like-
will build nests on things?
He's standing above the bushes.
Or just
He,
parrot,
she,
there we go.
whatever. Look how tall that is.
You can't
Okay.
tell light from that.
It's white. It's white. It looks like it's like eyes are like hologram. You see how dark its eyes are?
Yeah, his eyes are
Yo,
all
this is
hologram.
scary to an extent. I don't usually see white ones like that.
It's sort of hanging. It's not moving at all.
It's
He's stuck out like a sore
What are you
thumb.
looking at like a tree trunk?
That could be anything. Exactly.
I will say
Hi,
that the
buddy.
camera movement makes it look like it's blinking, but that's just poor resolution.
Yeah, more than likely.
I feel like it's a tree trunk or something.
More
it's
than
like a
likely,
birch
it's just
tree.
something like that. I mean, also at the very beginning, it was way off in the distance. How did he suddenly just spot that thing that far away?
Andy, it's because he nailed it to a tree. That's how he knew it was there.
There's also the human quality of trying to see faces in random patterns anyway. We're psychologically geared to seeing faces. You get 2 dots on a line and you'll see a face. So anything that looks vaguely face-like, you're going to see it as a face. But you said apart from the blinking, is probably just resolution. It doesn't move an inch.
No,
So it's really tall. How can you tell how tall that is?
It's static. It's something placed there. And talking about that, obviously it's pareidolia as well. If it was a naturally occurring thing. I was listening to an old Jim Harold Plus Club thing. It's like Cryptid Report or something. And I was listening to someone talk about Bigfoot, and the minute he said pareidolia does not exist, I was like, nope.
Yep. Turn that off.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned Nephilim, Cain, angels. Pareidolia doesn't exist. Like, I'm out. I'm totally out. Just done.
Pareidolia is a very basic human instinct to try and
I
familiarize something.
But we're hardwired to find patterns.
Exactly.
That's the hunter-gatherer. The hunter-gatherer was looking for patterns in the wild. That's how we survived.
Yeah, we're looking if it's food or a threat.
Yeah.
It's
Everything's
funny. Give me a little example of that. I used to, a story and a half here, but was involved in a Facebook group called Ghosts Caught on Camera. Nearly 500,000 members. It's been hacked to death. We've lost control of it completely. But before that happened, we did this thing. I found some really good examples of pareidolia and built a grid of them together as a post. And people were arguing. Said, no, that's a real ghost. That's a face. That's a ghost. No, it's pareidolia. These are perfect examples you can find online. One of them I'd made myself. It was just a coat where it was hanging up. But they were saying, no, that's ghosts. They're ghosts. You've got that wrong. They're ghosts. It's like, God.
It's like all the people who see the Virgin Mary in wood grain on their door. Just because we're hardwired to look for these things. It's absurd.
I think the best one is usually the Jesus on the back of a dog's bum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
a holy experience. Looking at a dog's butthole, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I see our cat buttholes.
That's what cats do. They're also hardwired for that. They're like, look at my butthole. Mm-hmm. They shake it at you.
Unique.
Give me some canned food.
Speaking of buttholes,
another segue.
I am a fan of on the newest season of Drag Race. There is Lydia Butthole Collins. I am a fan of her.
I haven't started it yet, so don't give me no spoilers. La 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 la.
It's good. You'll like it.
Was it okay?
Yeah.
I was watching School Spirits. And then because I really have it in my head that I want to do a found footage film. So I've been watching a lot of stuff due to that. So whatever. That's just something that's, how my brain works.
Yeah.
But anyway,
sense.
Go on about the butthole, Susie. I'm sorry.
We love buttholes.
We absolutely adore buttholes.
Yep.
There is one video I wanted you guys to watch that it's a little bit longer and it's not related to Bigfoot. But it is related to pukwudgies. And if I put pukwudgie anywhere in the description or title of the video, there is a butthole that will message people and yell at them. So, but so far, he only yells at women. So we're going to see if he will yell at a man or if he is a complete bitch. So.
All right, you little butthole pukwudgie bitch. Come at me.
I know where this is going.
I just wanted to see buttholes.
This is not the same one.
No.
But it also involves another trigger.
Andy and Paul are meeting with Maddie Blake. Maddie is a popular podcast host and is also known for his work on the TV shows Drilling Down and Beyond Oak Island. A lifelong local to the Bridgewater Triangle, Maddie will be guiding our team through his stomping ground, the Hockomock Swamp, to give them more information about the high strangeness in the area.
Challenger, look at that.
Let's get to it.
All right, straight ahead I'll lead. It's going to be a cold one, boys, so bundle up.
Yeah.
He's got a punisher.
So, Maddie, you grew up here. Just tell us about it. What's the story? Whoa.
Let's see. That's weird.
Something just got ripped apart here.
Yep, looks like a deer carcass. But see, This is the type of thing that you'd see anywhere else and not really think about.
Oh, wow.
But in the Bridgewater Triangle, it's weird.
Are there predators out here? Something big, too.
Some people believe Bigfoot. Some people have seen big cats out here. Unexplainable. You know, the authorities always try to say, well, it's someone's exotic pet that escaped or things like that. But there seems to be so many of them, large birds, just all kinds of weirdness.
Yeah, well, so what about pukwudgies? That's the story we're curious about.
In lore, the pukwudgie is a small, hairy, potbelly shapeshifter known to the Native American tribes of the northeastern United States. Legend has it that the pukwudgie lures lone travelers into the woods and then kills them.
The pukwudgies are tied to Native Americans.
Yeah.
And they started off kind of like benign, working with the Native Americans, a lot of people say.
Right.
And then at some point, the pukwudgies turned nasty and, according to legend, attacked the Native Americans in this area.
So they're dangerous.
And then they got tricksterish, where they lure people in. They say, come, follow me. And they seem kind of cute almost.
Yeah.
The legend is that they could draw you in and try to drown you or harm you.
This is the story that we hear time and again, right? The shape-shifting creatures, much like Skinwalker, associated with these, sort of anomalies, right? These areas of high strangeness.
And there seems to be some kind of consistency with the Native American curse, some kind of conflict that result in
or just everywhere we go, there's an energy source related to this.
What's really compelling when you talk to a local witness who doesn't want to talk about pukwudgies because it's embarrassing and humiliating. So I saw a little creature that was talking a weird language. That's the other thing. They talk a weird language. When they still come forward and they're compelled to tell, this is what I experienced, it carries some weight with me.
Yeah, it's got to be really intense to come out and face any kind of criticism.
I have to interject here. There was one person who said that they talked. It was Bill Russo. I've interviewed him. He is the only one that has ever said that, and he is not embarrassed at all. We did a full interview.
For this to be sort of like right in your backyard.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is typical Bridgewater Triangle. You see things like that, and your mind starts racing.
Yeah, I mean we're sort of barely in here.
Yeah. What got you interested in this place to start with?
Oh well, I grew up around here, and from the first time I saw the show In Search Of and saw Patty the Bigfoot look at me, I was done. Again, the Bridgewater Triangle is just haunted. A lot of forests that you go into feel peaceful. You connect to nature, but here, in fact, I stopped coming out here to be completely honest. It's kind of lucky you got me out here because I think there's a story to be told, and I want to help you guys. But this is like big boy stuff. This isn't, oh, it's a fun haunted house. This is like there was real loss of life. All the towns around here were destroyed in the King Philip's War. Thousands of people died brutally.
The King Philip's War in 1675 was a bloody engagement between the Native Americans and the colonists of New England. The war was also a last-ditch effort by the Wampanoag tribe to avoid recognizing the authority of English settlers encroaching on their territory. Lasting 14 months, the conflict per capita was bloodier than the Civil War.
There's untold numbers.
So I'm also going to go back to the racism thing here. They made it sound like it was the colonist villages that all got destroyed there. But then he says the Wampanoag people were trying to avoid recognizing the authority of the colonists who had no authority.
Yeah, stolen land.
Don't blame me.
Of Native American and colonialist graves, probably unmarked because there was a lot of battles fought out here.
Pre-colonial and colonial conflict. That's hand-to-hand combat.
You got it.
And also, there were bodies in the swamp because it was a burial ground before the colonists even got here.
You think about it from their perspective, it's apocalyptic, right? I mean, 2,000 people back then is whole towns. Thousands of people died brutally, Native American and colonists.
Right.
So I carry that feeling, I take that seriously. I think it's a sacred place. And I don't know. I just had the feeling that I should stop poking around. I live on a body of water called the Palmer River, which also flows through parts of the Bridgewater Triangle. And right along it, they used to put heads on spikes during the King Philip's War.
Oh, that's where
as a message to anyone trying to come in to do anything. So it makes sense that there's all kinds of weird, strange things. But this area in particular is just nonstop hotbed of everything from UFOs to Bigfoot to paranormal. So this seems to be the heart of it, the Hockomock Swamp.
Close enough to being over. I've had enough.
There you go. I can't take no more, please.
The funny thing is,
they compared pukwudgies to skinwalkers. I could not believe that.
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, yeah, that's good.
Just to say quickly, the funny thing is the actual Bridgewater town is only a few miles from where I live, where the name has obviously come from. Because I noticed, we noticed that before, there's quite a few towns in the Somerset area particularly that have transferred over to that part of the state, which is quite interesting. Didn't you find there was a Taunton as well? Something like,
Taunton, yeah, there's a Taunton right near the Bridgewater Triangle. Yeah.
The way the Taunton and Bridgewater are to each other in the States is the same as it is here in terms of how far apart they are, and also which direction from each other they are as well, which is very strange.
That's mystery means something, yeah.
I couldn't think of new names. I just borrowed lots of old names.
That's why we have New York, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yep,
gotta have Old York, gotta have New York.
Old York's very nice city.
Yeah, gotta have New Jersey instead of Old Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey's an island, of course.
But yeah, I kind of the whole Native American curse thing is kind of a dog whistle also.
Yep.
I hate that shit.
Yep.
I hate
Same
it.
here.
I hate it. And as we know, my grandsons are like about a quarter, I think 25% First Nations Cherokee, and I've made a huge point for the last 17 years that Noah's been around to look into his back so I could help him culturally because he doesn't have any other things. So then when I hear stuff like this and I'm like, see, Noah, this is the kind of thing I don't want you to watch. They make it sound like the Indians just slaughtered people, and it was the opposite. And then to say pukwudgies, I mean, they got part of that right. They are tricksters, but it goes back to what is that? The Irish legend of the horse in the water that was going to come up and drown you.
The Selkie?
Yeah, no,
not Selkie.
Selkies were seals, right? Do I have that right? I don't know. Anyways,
let's offend Irish people.
Right. Hey, my great-great-grandparents were McGuns, thank you, straight from the old country. So,
yeah, I'm Irish too, so
whatever. But I don't know. I just hate, I said this the last time, do your research. Okay, are pukwudgies tricksters? Yes. That energy, that sprite energy, they're not there because of any curse. They're there because that's their habitat. Swamps, forest land. And yeah, they might just be a little light that you follow or a voice that you hear, but they're not going to possess you. They're not there to actually kill you. They're just there to mess with you. Unless, like in the old nursery tales, like I said before, you disrespect them personally. Then you might have to watch out. That's in the lore, and that lore crosses over different cultures. And I say it's the same energy. What you see is the cultural perception of it, cultural reflection, sorry. Yeah. Every civilization has the same exact energies. They just have different labels for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so when I hear these and I know they do it for likes and views and scary and pukwudgies are gonna murder you, and I'm like, well, no, they might put water in your socks or something silly like that, but
hey, that's my move.
Right. Replace your shampoo with Nair. I don't know, silly things, not horrific. And then, like you said, they know nothing about skinwalkers or the legends behind skinwalkers. And Wendigos and skinwalkers are a huge trigger for me because it's a blanket term for something that maybe somebody saw that they don't understand.
Well, it is a blanket term for anything considered a native myth or part of their lore, it had been a skinwalker, and it's everywhere. No, that's part of the Dene and the Southwest American Native American tribes. That's where that is, and just like the Wendigo is also part of Native American lore, but it's not the same tribes. It's not across the country. It's the northeast America and Canada that. it's completely different, completely separate. Might be facets of
Each
the
nation
same.
has their own lore.
Yeah, exactly.
Each nation has their own lore, and the same energies cross the lore, but they all have different stories, different backstories, different origins, different. That's where the individuality comes in, but that's added by humans.
Well, it'd be like if we said that the ancient, people who worshipped Zeus and all of those are the same as Christians because they came from the same area. Like it'd be the same exact thing. Like that's what it would be. Because both are in Italy.
Mother trucker.
Yeah.
Zeus was just down here having a good old time.
Zeus was sowing his seed everywhere he could.
Yes.
I mean, if they're going to talk about Nephilim, how come they don't ever mention all of Zeus's kids?
Yeah.
Like he had to have millions.
You know what? I want to see Jesus turn into a swan. That's what I want to see.
Swans are mean.
They are. And that's what Zeus
would never be a swan because swans are mean and Jesus was kind.
He would be he'd be a sweet mallard duck. That's what Jesus would be.
What about a
pigeon?
He
gets startled pretty easily.
What about a what?
A pigeon.
I feel bad for pigeons because aren't those the ones they're pretty much we domesticated them and then just abandoned them?
Yeah, they're not native here.
Yeah. They're our fault. I think
I used to work fine dining and I used to feel so bad every time squab was on the menu.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm serving a little pigeon.
So when I was a kid, my mother would make meat pies and it was always like ground beef or ground lamb, but they called it pigeon pie.
Nice.
And I asked, why do we call it pigeon pie? And she said, well, because that's what your dad's mother used to make when he was a kid. They were like immigrants and they were poor. So they used to send the sons out to go catch pigeons and they would make meat pie out of them.
Lovely.
There's a lot of pigeons to make meat pie, though.
It must be, yeah.
I just don't trust anything that's just called meat pie.
Well, yes, could be anything.
That's just
any animal, any part.
I'm not a huge meat eater, but I'm also
Yeah.
not a vegetarian, but I do not eat meat that I can't tell what it is.
Right.
Well, my first job in my teens was at my dad's butcher shop, and I've not eaten red meat for 40 odd years.
Yeah, that'll scare you.
It's all right.
Yes, red meat,
Process. When you watch them using a blowtorch to burn the hairs off pigs' heads to cut the face meat off to make cheap sausages, you're like, nah, I'm not eating that. Exactly. It was like, oh my god, nothing.
I don't eat pork.
Sausage getting made.
I eat a lot of turkey. I'm gonna be screwed if turkeys ever are bad. If they're ever I don't know. Can they get the avian flu?
Yes.
Yes, they're avians. They're birds. Never mind.
Yeah.
Landed on
The clue's in the name, yes.
The bird flu.
The clue's in the name.
Oh boy.
What were we saying about IQs earlier? Jesus.
Even that late for you.
I was just thinking, God, I eat a lot of turkey.
If she starts saying that the government is trying to cover up Bigfoot, we're going to intervention her.
Oh, man.
No, I would never say that. And I hate, again, I'm back to I really hate that. I just hate how it's all intertwined. And then it makes me feel like, okay, fine. They just waited till, and this is probably true. They just waited till the right moment to lay it on us so they can distract us from everything else that they're doing,
Yes,
taking our basic human freedoms away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just me.
If there's one positive we can get from a Trump administration is if he acknowledges that Bigfoot exists. I'll take it. One positive. I'll take the positive.
I might stop
pay
believing
enough
he
money,
exists if that happens.
Maybe, yeah.
I think if he thinks of getting votes, he will do.
I have one more video I need to make sure you guys watch.
Okay, wait, let me get my glasses back on, Susie. I threw them on at the last one as soon as I realized where we were going.
And I am making Rick watch this just because he's got that Graham Hancock book infuriating.
Yeah,
Maybe.
buddy.
And Graham Cock.
I didn't give him my money. I bought it used.
Oh, good. Mothman has a better butt, but that one wasn't bad.
Yeah.
How do we know that Sasquatch might not be one of these Nephilim?
The local Seminole Indians believe that Bigfoot does exist and that it has special powers.
It uses its magic to get away. A part of a hypnosis stage that it puts people in. And to where it could be standing right there in front of you and you still wouldn't see it.
This feels very 90s.
Very low res.
There's also one that appears usually in the morning time, usually soft, which means forget. So it's being a creature
I don't even know what that was.
That was Ron Moorhead's Sierra sound.
That's the rock.
Oh shit. He discovered 28-inch footprints. And the stride between the footprints, George, was over 15 feet.
15 feet?
15 feet.
What that has to be? What the hell is that? Off the mega pixelation.
They came on the trail, they appeared on the trail, he followed them, and then they just disappeared. And he has seen this with his own eyes. These beings, and I've heard this from other witnesses, whatever these guys are, they seem to be more interdimensional. They have the ability to come in and out of our space-time.
It's a predator.
Information from the Sasquatch Genome Project claiming there is now DNA evidence proving they say that Bigfoot is indeed no longer a myth, but rather a human hybrid living among us.
Look at that dump truck.
It's all about the dump truck.
Can't be a man in gorilla suit. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're supposed to be looking at there.
No idea.
It's a UAP.
It's Rorschach.
Yeah.
Now tell me about the word Nephilim. What does that mean? In the Hebrew, it comes from the verb nephal. It means the fallen ones. And that's the term used. Don't confuse that with the fallen angels. The fallen angels, according to Genesis 6, cohabited with human women to produce a hybrid offspring that are called in the Hebrew the Nephilim. In the Septuagint version of the Old Testament, the translation of the Old Testament into Greek, they use the word gigantes, which is transliterated giants, and they did happen to be giants, but that's not what the word means. The word actually means, in the Greek, the earthborn. And so, from the Greek point of view, they're earthborn. From the Hebrew point of view, they're the fallen ones. But either way, they're pointing to a hybrid.
Is it?
Yeah. Dump truck again.
I appreciate it.
Of course it's a white dude.
Although woven into their legends, the Indians believe that Bigfoot is a real flesh and blood creature that also has hypnotic powers.
That's something that bugs the hell out of me. Like I'm going to plug a book. It's The Phenomenal Sasquatch by Matt Pruitt. And he talks about supernatural things being attributed to known animals. Like tigers could hypnotize people or disappear and all of these things. And now and that was a known creature. And now we're doing the exact same thing for a completely unknown creature. Like, oh, they can hypnotize you, or they can disappear at will, or they can hop through portals, or I hate all of it. I hate it so much.
And
Nephilim.
what is the fascination with Nephilim? I don't understand that one.
It's a good question, actually.
It's confirming religious beliefs. That's pretty much it. They're always looking to affirm their own religion.
Wasn't the point of the flood to drown the Nephilim? So
Yeah, he's saying God he can't even do that. Can't drown some big dudes.
Well, okay, so the
Big
angels
dude, yeah.
came to Earth. They banged the women.
Yes.
The women
Like
had
you
the
did.
babies, and then God said the babies were abominations.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm breaking this down to bare bones because I grew up real Catholic.
Basically it, though.
And that's the part that pisses me off. Why are the kids abominations? Your angels came down and probably raped the women. If we're going to a kernel of truth somewhere in the story,
He allowed it. He allowed it to happen. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the Medusa story. Same thing. Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you're not a fan, Rick, of the trans-dimensional idea of Bigfoot.
I hate
It's
transdimensional
so stupid.
Bigfoot.
It
It is the one thing Rick and I solidly agree on.
we can I don't get me wrong. It's not that I 100% believe in a real physical Bigfoot. I want to believe, but when you start attributing all of these crazy things to a creature that's unknown, like you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to jump through portals. It doesn't have to be able to mind speak. It doesn't have to be able to control your bodily reactions and instill fear in you. Like it's just if it's anything, it's a North American wood ape. Like that's it. Like it's an unknown hominid.
Here's how I feel about it. Why can't it be both? Okay, so the paranormal, there are documented accounts of orbs and UFO activity with same sightings as Bigfoot. We know this. But that to me, again, is cultural reflection. People are seeing something they don't understand, so their brains are automatically assigning labels that they can understand. Okay, why can't there be an American wood ape at the same time as people experiencing weird paranormal events that really have nothing to do with Bigfoot? It's their own brains going, I don't know what I'm seeing here.
Yes.
So this is a Bigfoot. This is an orb.
Absolutely
This is
agree
an
with that.
alien.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. It's one thing that Sue and I talk about often. It's my kind of thinking on this. There is a paranormal reality. There's something that exists, but we see it according to our own cultural beliefs. It manifests in a certain way that we see, that we understand culturally. You don't tend to get Bigfoot very often in the UK. It's a small country. You wouldn't get them. But you do get other odd phenomena that behave in a similar kind of way that do literally appear to vanish and disappear. So I think it's how you're culturally, your history, all those things go into how you perceive these paranormal entities that I do think exist and are here with us, if you like, the non-corporeal beings of some form. And I do think some of the stuff I've read about Bigfoot does seem to fit the kind of ultra-terrestrial idea, but that could be that we're assigning the Bigfoot identity to an ultra-terrestrial event, if you like. As you're just saying, it could be that we're identifying it that way.
Yeah.
Rather than being it's specifically all Bigfoot are ultra-terrestrials, full stop. Because it's interesting, you think obviously you've got the North American Bigfoot, but you've got a Sasquatch here over in Asia. It's a similar kind of creature, basically, very similar sort of thing. But it's always in very remote areas where these things could possibly have survived unidentified for millennia.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's ever just one thing globally. It could be, you've got your East Asian type that branched off, and then you've got the one that came from East Asia across the Bering Strait and inhabited North America, and then moved into South America. So it's just like the different types of humans that have habituated in different areas, and yeah, you can still interbreed, but there's a little bit of difference physically and with stature and coloration for that. Yeah.
I heard a new theory this week that at least I had never heard of before. I was chatting with a doctor who teaches remote viewing classes, and I don't know what he's a doctor of, to be fair.
Dentistry.
I do enjoy him, and even though I don't always agree with him, he is just a great person to have a chat about weird stuff with. But he thinks that Bigfoot might be made of dark matter.
Oh
man, he's kind of like blipping into our plane when the conditions are just right.
The problem with that is I think the current understanding of dark matter is if it comes in contact with normal matter, it creates combustion. Like there's a reaction. It's on the scale of a nuclear explosion. So for every atom of dark matter that touches...
I feel like we would have seen a few explosions by now if Bigfoot...
Yeah, that was Tunguska. Bigfoot popped in.
Just think of that.
Chernobyl.
Andy was on the same thing. No.
Chernobyl. It's the answer to Chernobyl. I figured
3
it
Mile
out.
Island.
Solved it.
Solved it.
Yeah. The meteor crater in Arizona, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. God damn, we solved so many mysteries tonight, y'all.
He's very big fit. It's relanded, of course. What do you guys think? I mean, someone mentioned the Moorhead recordings. What do you guys think of those?
I don't know, because it seems it seems uncomfortable at times. Like it's, but I also know that people who study language and speech patterns have identified some form of speech in it. So I can't dismiss that, but it also feels very 70s. Like let's make gibberish on a recording and let it out there. But I'm not dismissing it when I say that. You know, just I can't buy it completely.
As far as the linguist goes, though, I mean, you can find a pattern in anything. Look at the stupid Bible codes that everybody bought.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then they found out that you could find the same codes in Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the same answers. So is Moby Dick the prophet too? You know, like, so that part, I don't know. Like, I do like what SETI's doing right now with the whales, and they're confirming that they're having actual discourse with these whales. Connie is the whale that they're talking to lately. So, I mean, there could be a language there, but I just always I don't know. I've listened to it. It's disturbing on some level too.
Yeah. I mean, I heard them many years ago.
There's a tint to it that kind of makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. So almost a primal reaction. So then that makes me think, well, maybe it is real.
Yeah, it doesn't feel human.
It's something.
Yeah.
Whether it's actual proper language is a matter of debate, but there's assuming they're not just faked, which I don't know. I mean, I've actually talked to him on Facebook, believe it or not, quite a few times about all that. He's very open to talk to about any of it. He's happy to discuss it. And I do get the impression that they recorded something genuinely was out there making those noises.
Yeah,
whether it could even be.
I don't think it was a hoax at all.
Yeah.
You know, but what it is, that's where I get stuck.
This whole notion you could tell. Well, this whole idea you could tell how tall the thing was, the size of it caused by the sound. That to me just sounds a bit not too sure about that. I mean, the guy was an engineer at the end of the day. He wasn't sort of biochemist or anything like that. He would have more of an idea of physical structure of an animal, so that it's a certain height.
Along the same lines as the Sierra sounds, the recordings of what sound like gibbons whooping in the woods, like I buy that. Because if you go to the zoo, like you go to the Nashville Zoo near me, they have gibbons and they make those noises. They make whooping noises to communicate. So when you hear that recorded in the wild in North America, A, it's either a human, or B, it's an unknown primate doing it, you know?
Even coyotes here, they do whoop, whoop, woo, like that. Like it doesn't sound like what you would think a coyote would sound like.
Yeah.
And most of your average people don't know that that's what coyotes sound like, you know? So you got to take some of that into effect. Like with some of the recordings, I don't think that with those, but in like the Sierra ones, but some of them that I've heard are clearly like coyotes.
Yeah, it's absolutely a
I heard
canyon.
one that I am 100% sure was hyenas. I don't know how hyenas got into the Midwest, but I know a hyena sound.
Escape pets.
That's definitely what it was.
Yeah, like Andy said, it's escaped pets, and also if you go back, there's a Cryptids of the Corn episode because Justin England's a biologist who runs that podcast, and he was talking about how there is evidence of hyenas in North America in the Pleistocene or before, so it's not unthinkable that there would be remnant or relic populations of North American hyenas. So that's where the Dogman stuff comes in too. Like you hear all these. I don't buy the Dogman at all.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's absurd to me. But if it's people misidentifying a relic population of hyenas, yeah, then maybe that's a little more feasible.
Ancient hyena ghosts.
Ancient hyena ghosts.
Yes.
Just like
land.
Loch Ness Monster
cursed
is
the
a
land.
ghost of a plesiosaur in.
Who also cursed the land.
Yeah, Curse of the Land. There were Native Americans in Scotland.
Yeah, they're Scottish. Yeah.
Cursed the land.
They really liked,
It's
when
still
they
there.
got massacred, to curse the land just for weird creatures to show up. It makes total sense.
It does. You know what? My whole family just got massacred in front of me. I'm going to curse this particular tree right here for the end of time.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, Chief Cornstalk in Point Pleasant was like, I'm going to make the Mothman appear as a curse. So,
That failed because now there's a whole festival and
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
It's made it famous.
So,
She's got a nice butt.
real bad curse, Chief Cornstalk.
Right?
Ridiculous.
It is cultural appropriation. See, I'm saying it much better than I've been practicing.
You did good.
You can tell you haven't been drinking. Cultural appropriation.
I haven't had a drink in 5 years.
I haven't had a drink in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So whatever.
I think I'm about 5 years too, but for real.
And I don't have a problem. I'm not in recovery or anything like that. I just
stopped.
like it.
It's a lot of calories.
Well, yeah, and I got to keep my svelte figure.
Yeah. Me too.
I just got a
Well,
hangover
I mean,
for the first time and never wanted to do that again ever. And that was that for me.
I make really bad decisions when I'm drunk, like saying yes when
And
people
sober.
propose, and That's how I ended up married. He wrote me a song and asked me to marry him, and then okay.
You just make bad decisions in general. It doesn't have to be sober or drunk. It's just
Okay,
bad
but my sober decisions are marginally better. Marginal.
She gets shot in the foot or shot in the stomach. Yeah, I get it. Marginally better.
Do I want to limp or do I want to poop in a bag?
Yeah, I mean, I want to.
That's what you got to ask yourself sometimes.
Yeah,
maybe not.
It's a good question for life in general.
Right.
How far are you guys from that Bigfoot museum in Georgia? Because I
have
feel like
been
it's in the
there.
middle.
I've been there multiple times.
About 7,000 miles.
Did you see the petrified poop there?
Possibly, if you go back and look at my Instagram, Rick is a Dork, you can go back and look at when I was at the Bigfoot Museum taking pictures of everything. I used to cover that. I'm from Georgia, but I used to cover that as part of my territory for the last company I worked for. And I would visit one of my customers, which was 5 miles up the road in Blue Ridge, and then I would drive down to Cherry Log and go to the museum and run through and buy some stickers and stuff. But yeah, it's really cool. I think it's nice. They had a lot of original castings of prints, and they had some stuff from. It wasn't from the Patterson Gimlin film, but they had stuff from Bluff Creek. They had some stuff from Ray Wallace, Jerry Crew, like everybody in Bigfootery and Sasquatchery. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know I've never been there, but it takes me 8 hours just to get out of Florida, to be fair. So I'm not down for that drive.
I don't know how non-New England sized states work. So to me, I'm like, oh, it's one state over. That's like an hour.
Because I'm down in the peninsula and then I'm on a peninsula off the peninsula.
Yep.
It takes me forever to get up out of the state.
Yeah, I'm in a state
get out of the state,
wide.
well, but I feel like I'm in Florida for 8 years.
Yeah.
So
before we go, I first want everyone to give their favorite pet Bigfoot theory. I'm going with Neanderthal ghosts. I'm just in the ghost mood tonight. And then after you give your pet theory, plug whatever you need to plug. So we'll start with Andy.
My theory is that it's actually escaped convicts who have formed communities in the woods and have made themselves gorilla suits to keep people away. That's all they actually are, just escaped convicts living their lives in the woods. And I'd also like to plug the Paranormal UK Network, my YouTube channel, which it sometimes features on. Other shows also feature on it. And my Cryptic Files, the ghost videos now, is going to be featured on the Paranormal UK Network on YouTube. And the Paranormal UK Radio Network on Spreaker. I should have mentioned that as well. That'll be a job if I don't mention that.
All right, Rick, what's your theory?
Well, along similar lines, I think that my favorite pet theory is that Bigfoot is just Greek children that were released into the wild. And they're basically feral, very hairy Greek people. And they don't know a word of English, and they just live off the land. I think that's
not a bad life.
Yeah. You can find me at Rick as a Dork on most things. I'm on Instagram still, sort of. I'm on Blue Sky about the same amount. You can follow the podcast Instagram, Spooks Creeps Pod. We're also Spooks Creeps Pod on Blue Sky, so I'm cross-posting there. Facebook is dead. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and you have a festival coming up, right?
Oh, shit. Yes, thank you. With Lisa Russell at Cryptic Comforts, we are doing Fearsome Folklore Fest August 23rd at Hop Springs Brewery in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It is free to attend. Bring everyone. It is child-friendly. We're going to have vendors, speakers, musicians. I know Ron Murphy is signed on. He's been working on Small Town Monsters. A lot of our art friends, Whitney Aiden, a few others are coming out. So we're excited about it.
I'm nailing down Stevie Ate from Truth or Demons to do a presentation.
There you go.
Yep. So she already said she'd do it. I just got to give her the dates and stuff. She told me absolutely she was honored. And if y'all haven't seen her or listened to her podcast, check her out. Truth or Demons. It's one of the top tier research out there. She's excellent.
Yep.
And she's done a video with me on my channel too. So watch that after you're done watching this.
Yeah. She's been on our show too. Like I think I found her originally and I just started throwing her podcast at everybody and was like,
yeah, one day I went off of Warren's and you were like, you have to listen to this podcast.
Yeah. I binged it after you recommended it. Yeah.
Her research is amazing. And she's fair. If she's wrong about her theory, she tells you.
Yeah. Like with Andrea Perrin, where she initially thought Andrea was truthful and then had to walk it back. You admit when you're, not wrong, but you were,
misled.
Misled.
Like I think it'll be an interesting and different kind of presentation. So I pretty much got her nailed down for it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for
I'm
that.
so excited about that. So is it my turn?
Yep, your turn.
Bigfoot theory? Okay. They're interdimensional galactic bounty hunters who crash landed on Earth millennia ago, and they use our cave systems in our mountains as underground highways, and that's why we never see them.
Bunch of Chewbaccas.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They all have bandoliers. You just can't see them either.
Bandoliers everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're the ones actually writing. That's how they survive in today's society. They're the ones actually writing all the Bigfoot and werewolf porn. And then they're just banking the money so they can live.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
You got to make ends meet.
I get it, man. I get it. There's probably even an OnlyFans out there, I would bet.
Yep.
Bigfoot Pete.
All right. Rick, do you have a Chewbacca impression to end the episode with?
10 out of 10, friend.
Amazing.
Yes.
And on that note,
bye, folks.
Bye, everyone.
Regular now.